All right, good day, humans, learning about box and whisker plots today. This is 8-3 notes. So starting off, a box and whisker plot, otherwise known as a box plot, is just a data display that organizes the data into four equal groups. So if there's four equal groups, that means we learned a name for those four equal groups, and we called those quartiles. Remember the three numbers that split the data into four equal parts, right? Because if we're looking at a box to split that into four equal parts, that requires three lines or three dividers. So thinking about if the entire graph represents 100% of the data that you have, if you're splitting that into four equal parts, that would mean that each quartile is worth 25%. Hint, quarters, 25 cents, 25%. That's where that comes from. So in order to make a box and whisker plot, which is what you guys are asked to do on your practice problems, you need to know and you need to have the 5-number summary. The 5-number summary is what you're going to use, to make a box plot. And the 5 numbers that are in the 5-number summary are numbers that you are already familiar with. The first one is the minimum number, meaning your lowest number. Going right along with that, if number 1 is your minimum number, you can assume that number 5 is your maximum number or your highest number. Makes the most sense that in the middle we have our median, which is also known as quartile number 2. And remember that median is just straight up your middle number. Making sure that you remember before you figure out what your middle number is that you put them in order from least to greatest so you get the actual middle number. And of course, if there are 2 middle numbers, you're averaging them, adding them together and dividing them by 2. Number 2 for the 5-number summary is going to be quartile number 1. And then quartile number 3 would be the 4th number. And to find those quartiles, we're just finding more medians. It's just another way to find a median. Quartile 1 is the median. It's not another way to find a median. It's another median. Quartile 1 is the median of the lower half of the data. And quartile 3 is the median of the upper half of the data. So, taking a look at our box and whisker plot here that I have as an example, one of the first things I always start by doing when I have something like this is labeling that 5-number summary. Oh, okay. The minimum value, which we can see if we follow the whisker down, the minimum value is 2. Our Q1 is 4. Our median is 6. Q3 is 8. And our max number is 10. So those are the 5-number summary. Those are the 5 numbers that we just listed, and that makes up our box and whisker plot. So each one of this, you can see it divides our data into 4 groups or 4 parts. From the minimum to Q1, that's 1 part, and therefore is worth 25% of the data. Same goes from Q1 to the median, right? That median, we could also list above it that the median is also Q2. That's another 25% of the data. From Q2 to Q3 is another 25%. Oh, just kidding. And then from Q3 to the maximum is another 25%, making sense because the 4 25% get us the 100% of the data. So looking at just the box, what percent of data is shown in the box here from Q1 all the way to Q3? That would be 50%. From Q1 to Q2 is 25, and then Q2 to Q3 is another 25, getting the 50 total. And finally, what about from Q1 all the way to the maximum? What percent of the data is that? That includes 3 of the chunks, so that blue would be 75%. They love to ask you percentage questions when you're dealing with the box and whisker plots.